Yo, what up people, it's Master Kane running my spellcaster deck profile. About time I get to this one. Run one Dark Magician of Chaos. He's powerful, I can special summon him from the deck or from my hand pretty easily with various spell and trap cards. His strength is whenever he destroys an opponent's monster by battle, I banish it. But the downside to him is when he's destroyed, he is banished. So he's kind of a one-time use only. The next I run one Dark Eradicator Warlock. He is special summoned by attributing one Dark Magician. And his effect is when anyone activates a normal spell card, I inflict 1,000 points of damage to my opponent's life points. Next, the Master Magician. He's good for, he can be special summoned by removing 6 spell counters from the Citadel field spell, and if I discard one spell card, I can destroy one card on the opponent's side of the field. Pretty much, yeah. That's it for the boss monsters of the deck. Next is 2 copies of Dark Magician. He's rather powerful. 2,500 attack points, easily powered up, easy to get on the field. He's an overall beat stick for this deck. He's, with the way this deck is, Dark Magician is the way to go. Next, I run 2 copies of Dark Magician Girl. Again, she's a pretty good beat stick. If the Dark Magicians are in the graveyard at that time, she will gain attack points for the Dark Magicians in the graveyard. So she's easier to summon, and she can be just as powerful, if not more powerful. And then I run 2 copies of Skilled Dark Magician. He's good. If I can manage to get 3 spell counters on him, I contribute him and his spell counters to special summon one Dark Magician from my hand, deck, or graveyard. Then I run 1 Apprentice Magician. He's good whenever he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. I can special summon 1 level 2 or lower spellcaster type monster from my deck and special summon it to my field in face down defense position. Great for cards like Old Vindictive Magician or Magician of Faith. Then I run 3 copies of Magical Exemplar. This card's useful for special summon from the graveyard. If I can manage to get spell counters on her, I can use her special summon from my graveyard. Each spell card that's activated gives her 2 spell counters. And so I can special summon a spellcaster type monster from my graveyard, equal to or less than the number of counters I remove from her. So if I have 8 spell counters on her, which is 4 spells activated, I can pretty much summon absolutely anybody I want from my graveyard. Or if I want Dark Magician Girl, I just need 3 spell cards to be activated for 6 spell counters. Or Skilled Dark for 4, or it depends on the combos you're trying to pull off, or there are many, many, many ways you can use her. Then I run 2 Magical Mignonette. Pretty basic. Remove 2 spell counters from him to destroy 1 monster on the field. And destroy it. So he's easy to get on the field, 2,000 base attack. 5-star monster, pretty nice. Then I run 1 The Tricky. He's pretty good. I can special summon him pretty easily. Just discard a card. Like if I have 1 spell card in my hand, discard it, special summon, flip summon Magician of Faith, get that spell card back, and then, go on from there. Then I run 1 Effect Veiler. She's good, on decks that attack and you can't, activate anything, effects or whatever, I can discard her and negate the effect. Or I can just use her as a tuner, which I have a few synchros in this deck. Then I run one Maiden of Maccabee. I attack. She's a 1700 attack point, 0 defense, 4-star monster. I attack you, destroy your monster by battle. I gain 1 spell counter on her, and each spell counter gives her an additional 200 attack points. Then I run 1 Summoner Monk. He is useful because if I discard a spell card like a special summon at level 4, spellcaster type monster from my deck, which is very useful. And discarding spell cards does not hurt this deck one bit. Then I run 1 Crusader. He is useful because during, he's a Gemini. He's normal monster while on the field or graveyard. But I can use his effect to place 1 spell counter on a face-up card in the field that I can place a spell counter on it. And this card gains 600 attack on each turn I do that. So I can use this card to stack up spell counters. He's easy to bring back on the field if I need him. Easy to summon from the deck. Easy to summon from the graveyard. And easy to summon from my hand. So no matter where this guy is, I can get to him at any time in the deck. Anytime in the duel. Then I run 1 Tuned Magician. She's good, because she's also a tuner monster when I want her to be. And she's a 4-star. So I can use her for many scenarios. I can use her as a beat stick or a tuner. Then I run 1 Magical Undertaker. This card's really good for special summoning. I can flip, target 1 level 4 lower spellcaster type monster in my graveyard and special summon it. Which means if I so-called chose him or her, I could, use her tuner effect and synchro summon. Then I run 3 copies of Old Vindictive Magician. Essentially has the same exact effect of Man-Eater Butt. Flip, destroy 1 monster on the field. Now, a very crucial part in any spellcaster deck. Magician of Faith. Flip and add 1 spell card from your graveyard back to your hand. Very critical for pulling off a combo more than 1 time. Now, for the last of the monsters, 2 Witch of the Black Forest. When she's destroyed, I can add 1 spellcaster type monster. When she leaves the field, period. I can add 1 spellcaster type monster with 1500 or less defense from my deck. Which that again gives me multiple options for powerful combos. Now, on to the spell cards. 2 Magical Citadel. If 1 gets destroyed and I can't get 1 back, I have another spare. And it houses my spell counters. If a card I control has spell counters on it and is destroyed, its spell counters are moved to the Citadel. And whenever an ability that uses spell counters is activated, I can remove spell counters from this card instead. And if this card were to be destroyed, I can remove a spell counter from it instead of destroying it. So if I can gather spell counters, the opponent can almost never destroy this card. But if they do, I have a spare. Because if they do it early on, they could destroy it. Or if they negate its effect, etc. Now, one of my most powerful spell cards in this deck, Mage Power. I can equip it to a monster I control, and that equipped monster gains 500 attack and defense for each spell or trap card I control. So if my field spells on the field, and I have 5 spell and trap cards, including this card, that's a 3,000 point bonus. So equip that to Dark Magician, 5,500 attack point normal monster. And this deck loves to have spell and trap cards. Next, for a little extra power, Axe of Despair. Pretty basic. Equipped to a monster, it gains 1,000 attack. Pretty basic. And then when things get rough, I have the spell card Swords of Revealing Light. Halt my opponent for 3 turns while I pick up and build on my strategy. Now, spell card Double Spell. I can discard one spell card from my hand to target one spell card in my opponent's graveyard and place it on my field face up and activate it. I can use any spell card in my opponent's graveyard and use it. So my opponent has something like Dark Hole or something and I'm getting stumped. I can discard a spell card, activate their spell on my side of the field and destroy everything. Or if it's an equipped spell, I can use it. A lot of combos I could use, and even if I can't use it in the current duel, I can always use this as a discard spell for an ability like my Dark Eradicator. Either way, it's very useful. Spell card Mist Body has saved me multiple times. Equipped it to a monster, and that monster can't be destroyed by battle. So, if I put it on a defense position monster, and I have nothing else I can do, I can just prevent me from being destroyed by battle. Spell card Dark Magic Attack. One spell card of Dark Magic Attack. If I control a Dark Magician on my side of the field, I can destroy all spell trap cards my opponent controls. Good for board clear. And if you keep Dark Magician on the field, great combos can come off of this. Can empty their, like if they have Mirror Force, etc., you can completely disregard all their traps. Spellbound Wand. I can equip it to a monster I control, and that monster gains 100 attack for times its level. And also, when that monster is destroyed by this card effect, and then I can activate this card effect and special summon that destroyed monster back to the field. Then another powerful spell card I got in this deck. 3 copies of Magical Dimensions. What this card does is similar to Magical Box, Mystic Box, but much more powerful. I can tribute a spellcaster type monster I control, target a monster my opponent controls, destroy my opponent's monster, and special summon a spellcaster type monster from my hand. So if I have like Dark Magician in my hand and I got like Old Vindictive on the field, I can tribute Old Vindictive, destroy my opponent's monster, and then special summon my Dark Magician. Then just one Mystical Space Typhoon. Just clear the backboard, but with like Dark Magic Attack and some of my synchros, don't need as many of these. Then now onto trap cards. Run 2 Mirror Force. Pretty self-explanatory. My opponent attacks me. I just, destroy all their attack position monsters. Good for protecting myself. Then next, 2 Magician Circle. When a spellcaster type monster attacks, I can activate this trap card. And then special summon a 2,000 attack point or lower spellcaster type monster from my deck. So that's good for getting Dark Magician Girl or like Magical Mignonette, or there's several other combos I could pull off too. Magic Cylinder. My opponent attacks me, I negate their attack, and they take the damage. Shadow Spell. My opponent attacks me, or on my turn, I equip this card to their monster, it loses 700 attack, and cannot attack, or change its battle position. Next. Miracle Restoring. I can remove 2 spell counters from my side of the field to special summon 1 Dark Magician or Blusher Blader, which I don't have Blusher Blader in this deck, but I could use it to get Dark Magician. And I got mixed up a little bit, but I have a second Magic Cylinder in here. Then for the last trap, Dark Renewal. If my opponent would normal summon or special summon a monster, or monsters, I can target one of those monsters and one of my spellcasters, send both to the graveyard, and then special summon a dark spellcaster type monster from my deck or graveyard. Good for getting just about anybody I want. Now that's for the main deck. For the extra deck, I run 1 Arcanite Magician. He's very good. He's only a 400 attack point start, but when he synchro summons, he gains 2 spell counters. And he gains 1,000 attack for each spell counter. So if I combine him with my Crusader, I can add 1 spell counter to him every turn, increasing his attack points by 1,000 every turn. And I can remove 1 spell counter from him to destroy 1 card on the opponent's side of the field. But if I combine him with like my Citadel, I can keep increasing his power and remove from the Citadel to destroy opponent's cards. Then I run 1 Tempest Magician. Good. When I summon it, it gains 1 spell counter. And once per turn, I can discard any number of cards to place 1 spell counter on this monster. On a monster I control, one for each counter removed. But then I can remove all spell counters from the field to do 500 damage to my opponent for each. So if I have like 6 spell counters, 3,000 points of damage. Pretty easy to use. Opens up combos. Then for the last spellcaster in the extra deck, Explosive Magician. I can remove 2 spell counters from my side of the field to select and destroy 1 spell or trap card my opponent controls. So it's rather useful in that manner. Now for the non-spellcasters in the extra deck, 1 Samara Dragon of Rebirth. Basically acts like a monster reborn and easy to summon. I can use Effect Veiler and a level 4 monster, which is very easy to summon. Basically, I can, when he's destroyed, I can special summon a monster from the player's graveyard. Now for last, 2 Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon, easy to summon, 2 level 4 monsters. I can discard 2 XYZ materials to target 1 monster my opponent controls half its attack and add that attack to my monster. It's rather powerful and has led to victories in my dueling. Anyway, that's my extra deck, and that's my spellcaster deck profile. Tell me what you think. Subscribe, comment, like, and tell me what you think about my deck profile. Now, peace out. Master Kane, out.